Hi all, welcome to session 20 of Azure Data Factory. And in this session, we are going to take a look at fail activity. Now, those who are familiar with any programming language, you know that there is a concept of exception. So, what happens is that if you are writing a program, chances are that you may miss something and program may fail. So, in that scenario, what you have missed and what is the error that program has given to you is called an exception. Now, there are two types of exceptions. One exception is automatically given by the programming language. So, if you divide some number by zero, it will give you divide by zero exception because that is not a correct arithmetic operation. But in the business case, if you are writing a business logic and if you want to code your own exception, suppose the gender should not be other than male and female, that kind of logic. So this kind of exception is not handled by the programming language itself. So you have to create your own exception, give the message to the user, and that way you will be gracefully handling the errors that are thrown by your program. So exceptions in the data factories are managed by fail activity. So pipelines will fail automatically also, but suppose if you want to intentionally fail a pipeline, why? Because you feel that the pipeline should not continue because a certain condition has failed or a criteria has not been met. So in that scenario, you want to intentionally fail the pipeline, and after failing it you want to give the message back to the person who is monitoring that pipeline so that he comes to know why the pipeline has failed. Okay, so in that scenario you can use a fail activity, give your message, that is error message, and your error code, and the fail activity will pass it on to the user who is actually looking at the pipeline monitoring. Okay, so we are going to see how we can use fail activity in our pipeline in this session, and after that we will move forward. Okay, so let's jump into our data factory studio. Let me go to my Azure portal, and I'm again going to use the same set variable pipeline that we have used in our last session in order to give you a demo on the fail activity. So I am moving from the simple activities to complex activities. Right now we have covered copy data activity, which is our data movement activity. Currently we are going through our control flow activities, and after we are done with the control flow activities we will move to our data transformation activities. Okay, so that is how we are going to go, and once we are done with this control flow section we are also going to perform certain use cases that we actually create in the business. Okay, so that way you will be able to like combine all the knowledge that we have gathered so far into one project, and you will be able to see how different bits and pieces of the entire data factory fits together to perform a certain business task. Okay, so let's go into our pipeline, and I'm going to go into set variable demo pipeline. Okay, so here what we are doing set variable, and this particular activity is initializing a variable with the file name, and after that we are copying that file, that is file1.txt. Then again we are doing a set variable activity. The variable is same, but now it has been initialized by the file2.txt. That is going to be a new value, and then we are again calling copy data activity, and after that we are doing set pipeline return value. So in this particular pipeline we are seeing both the variable types. One is normal variable, second is pipeline return value. Okay, so if you click on it and if you go to settings, you can see pipeline variable and pipeline return value. Okay, now suppose if this particular activity, that is if you are copying the file1.txt and this activity fails. Okay, so the use case that we are trying to achieve here is only if the employees data is successfully copied, then only we should go and copy the company data. Okay, but in case if employee data copy is not successful, then we should not go ahead with the rest of the steps. So in that scenario pipeline should fail, and it should send a message saying that the employee file has not been copied, and because of that the pipeline has failed. Okay, so this is what we are going to achieve with our fail activity. Okay, but before we drag fail activity in this pipeline, let's just understand what is the state of an activity is in Data Factory. So if you hover on any activity, you will see these four options appear. Okay, so if you go to this is on skip. That means if this activity is skipped, what should happen? Then if the activity is successful, then what should happen? Then if activity is fail, and last one is on completion. So when it means on completion, it means the copy data activity is successful or failed, doesn't matter to the Data Factory. It is only looking whether this particular activity was executed or not. Whether the execution was successful or it was a failure, that is not the evaluation metric in the case of on completion. It is on fail, then it is on success, and it is on skip. Okay, so most of the time you deal with success and fail only. Skip and on completion rarely comes into picture, but you should be aware of these four states. This can be an interview question. Okay, so we have four state: on skip, on completion, on success, on failure. Okay, so let's search fail activity. Let's put it here and use hover on fail and create a link between fail state and the fail activity. Let me failure due to, or I would say failed to copy employee file. Okay. Now in this setting, if you see, it is asking to give you if it is asking to provide fail message and error code. Now see the asterisk. That means both the fields are mandatory. You have to provide failure message and you have to provide error code as well. Okay. So this particular thing is dependent on the company. So whatever company is using Azure Data Factory can define its own failure message and error code. So I am going to give a simple error message. And I'm going to give it an error code like 1. Okay, this is how it is going to be. Now again, if you are putting this way, let's just do this for copy data activity as well. So again, I am going to just click on this, and it is going to clone my clone my fail activity. I'm going to create a link between copy data and fail. Okay, and I'm going to say copy company file. Okay, in this I'm going to go into setting pipeline header to copy file 2.txt containing company data, and I'm going to give error code as 10,002. Okay, simple, nothing to worry about. We are good. Now I'm going to publish it. Okay, publishing successful. Now let me go to my Data Factory resource group, go to my ADLS Gen2 account. In containers, I had created source container variable input. Currently it is empty. So let me upload only file 2. I'm not going to put file 1 here. So I think I may have accidentally deleted the files. Let me recover it. I'm going to go into session, session 16. Yeah. So here I'm only copying file 2. So file 1 is missing here. Okay. Now let's run the pipeline. Now if you want to see the entire pipeline and you don't want to scroll right and left, you just first do auto align. After that you do this compact. Okay, so it is going to give you everything at one place. Okay, we are good to go. I'm going to click on trigger now, and it should trigger the pipeline. Let's go and check the pipeline execution. See, the pipeline has failed and it has triggered fail to copy employee file. Okay, and here if you go and check, you will see the error code, failure type. Yeah, sorry. So here you can see the error code, the failure type, and in the failure type you see pipeline failed, unable to copy file1.txt containing employee data. Okay, now let's put file1.txt here. I have put file1.txt, and let me remove file2.txt from the source. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'm going to rerun this pipeline, but let me just do it from my author tab. That way it will be less confusing. So we are again creating a new pipeline execution instance. Okay, I'm not renaming the same pipeline, I'm just triggering this pipeline one more time, which is going to create a new pipeline run id. So currently the set file name has worked. Now the pipeline is on copy data activity, it's in queue. Let's see, file1.txt is here. Okay, it has started execution. Yeah, so as you can see, the copy data activity is successful. That is why the fail activity was not triggered, instead it went to set variable activity. Now it is going to call file2.txt copy activity. And as you can see, the pipeline failed, and if you go and check the fail activity, it will give you an error that we have coded. So pipeline failed, unable to copy file2.txt containing company data. Okay, so in the second scenario it came, but it failed here, so it went into fail activity at the end instead of set variable. Now let's do the right thing, let's put both the files in source. So now file1 and file2 both are in source. Let's just go back and trigger it one more time, and please make sure that whatever files you are working with are very small in size, because Data Factory is going to charge you based on the amount of processing that is done, and it is going to be more if your file size is bigger. So make sure that for practicing you should have a small file, and the concept is going to be same for bigger file as well. Okay, so now as you can see, for the first two pipeline executions we got failure. Now it is the third execution, and as you can see, the first two steps, that is file1.txt initialization copy is done, file2.txt initialization is done, that is variable is now pointing to file2.txt, and it is going to be copied by the copy activity. So let's refresh, it is in queue. As you can see, everything is green. So since we have put the fail activity on the failed state of the copy data activity was successful, and that is why it didn't raise the fail activity. Instead it went to set variable, and now the copy data activity is in the pipeline, which is going to copy file2.txt. And as you can see, run is successful. Let's just go back, refresh here, and now go into the pipeline execution. So everything is green. That means whatever we were expecting happened, and pipeline got successful. Now fail activity, as you can see, was not triggered because we have set it up on fail. You can also set it up on other states as well, but mostly we set it on fail. Okay, so in order to revise what we have done, fail activity is going to give you the error code and error message that you are defining in the pipeline. Okay, so there are certain errors that are thrown by the pipeline, but if you want to throw an error of your choice based on your business logic, you can use fail activity in your pipeline. Okay, so this was fail activity in ADF, and let's meet in the next session and continue further. Okay, thank you so much for joining me, and see you tomorrow.